My name is Christopher Rose. I'm an author, mentor, life coach, motivational speaker, and evangelist. In this video, we're going to be talking about the lessons Dr. Karen Meechan taught me. Now, this video is all based on what I learnt from Dr. Karen Meechan and how she helped me when I was vulnerable with my mental health problems and conditions in therapy. So I'm gonna sort of explain exactly what she taught me and all the lessons that I learnt from Karen Meechan. So the first lesson, overcoming the past. Now, I was going through a difficult past. I was going through a difficult problem in my life. There's lots of things I was experiencing. And Karen obviously taught me how to overcome my past. She said to me that you need to look to the future in things that you want to achieve for yourself and try to look at your past as learning experiences and things that you can learn from. So when I found out this information from Karen, I sort of realized that even though I had a difficult past and it was quite tough and challenging, I can learn things from the past that can help me towards the future and help me towards my future aspiration and goals and dreams and desires that I want for myself. So it was very important that, Karen taught me that and sort of that I learned that. The second thing, black and white thinking. Now, Karen shared this to me in therapy, this black and white thinking, which is when you constantly just have one point of view of how you view things. So say for example, if you look at my hat for example, and you keep putting your point of view as it's a black hat, that means your perception is wrong, and that means your perception of what the hat actually looks like is not the real truth and it's not the real reality. In therapy that I did with Karen, I really struggled to change my black and white thinking. So Karen tried to help me to think more optimistically and think a bit differently. So instead of thinking of a black and white thinking, I sort of looked at things in lots of different point of views. So I am not wearing a black hat, I'm wearing a sort of dark grey blue hat, and obviously, there's lots of different ways how I can wear the hat, and there's lots of different ways of how I can style the hat. So when you think outside of black and white thinking, you have a bigger world view and a bigger observation and perception of how things should be. And that's what Karen taught me in therapy. The third thing, understanding my mental health conditions and understanding my mental health problems. Now, obviously, because I've got a mental health condition called schizophrenia, psychosis and depression, Karen helped me through therapy to understand my mental health condition, helped me to understand, why I suffered with my mental health problems, why I was going through mental health difficulties, why things were difficult for me and challenging. But through learning all the different things that Karen taught me about understanding my mental health condition, I realised for myself that I'm not a label of mental health. I shouldn't be classed as just a mental health patient. I am a human being that does have mental health problems, but it's not all of my life. It doesn't have to be evolved around everything that I do. That's why I realised for myself that mental health problems that I have for myself is just part of who I am. And it's not the whole aspect of my character, it's not the whole aspect of my life. It's just a part of my life that I've had to deal with and I've had to experience. But obviously, it's not my whole life and it's not everything to do with my well-being, my health, the way I live my life. So, it's very important to understand that when you do have a mental health problem and condition, that you're not a label of mental health. You do have a life outside of illness and beyond illness, and that's why you need to focus on looking to the future, looking into who you want to become, who you want to be, and what difference you want to make to others. The fourth thing I learned from Karen is to help other people. Now, as I was going through the therapy counselling sessions with Karen in therapy, I slowly realised a lot of things about myself, like, how I was going through a negative past, how I was struggling with mental health conditions, how things were in a very horrible way for me. But as Karen was helping me and obviously teaching me certain things, I realized through therapy that I wanted to help other people. And Karen was the first person I think I told about the work that I want to do for others and the work that I want to do for people. And I remember saying to Karen in therapy that I want to help other people with mental health problems. I really value the work that you've been doing for me and all the help you've been providing for me, and I love to pay it forward and do the same thing that you've done for me to somebody else and make sure I can help people, contribute, make a difference and a contribution to others. So Karen said, if you want to obviously help other people, that's your choice, that's what you want to do, so go ahead and do that. Obviously, when I did say to Karen at that time in therapy, I was in university and I was working in retail shops, but then Karen sort of realised that I didn't want to be in university and I didn't want to work in retail shops, so she sort of encouraged me and motivated me to want to work in the mental health industry and want to support people. And now that I've been working in the mental health industry for at least 6 to 7 years now, I've helped hundreds and thousands of people with mental health problems, and I've really made a difference in the mental health industry and in the mental health work that I do. And it's because of what Karen taught me, in therapy, and what I learned. And then the fifth thing I learned from Karen in therapy was understanding myself. I think this was the most important thing that I learned from the work I did with Karen, because through all my life, through all the things I was experiencing and going through, I never realised that I could be the person I wanted to be. I can become who I envision myself within my life. I can achieve the things that I really want and need in my life. And it took the help of Karen to make me realise that, yeah, I do have flaws, yeah, I do have problems, yeah, I do have struggles that I'm experiencing. But I can overcome that. I can get past the difficult times. I can find ways to cope with my conditions and cope with my experiences. And I can find ways to really help myself and support myself. And I realised that, even though I have been going through a difficult life and even though things have been tough, there's ways of how you can deal with your problems, and there's ways of how you can deal with your struggles. And through the therapy, I really understood who I was as a person. It was the first time in my life, even though I was going through a lot in therapy, sometimes I was crying, sometimes I was vulnerable, sometimes I was even depressed. But going through that process, uncovering all the different parts of my life, talking to someone that was professional about what I've experienced, helped me to realise who I was, helped me to realise the person that I want to be in my life and the person that I want to become. And that's why, I really am thankful for the work I did with Karen and all the work she did with me, because it was very important, very vital for my personal development and my life, and it really helped me a lot. The sixth thing that Karen taught me was how to manage my anger problems. So for a long time now, I've been suffering with anger. Ever since I was younger, I've always had anger problems and difficulties that I was experiencing. And Karen sort of showed me a new way of managing my anger. She obviously taught me how to take mindful walks in the park, how to look at people who are helping other people in a wonderful way, how to look at the world and sort of appreciate things that are happening within the world, how to appreciate myself for what I've experienced and gone through, and to sort of look at different ways of seeing things and look at different ways of viewing things. And when Karen taught me this, to obviously manage my anger problems, it really helped me a lot. And now, even though I do still have anger problems within my life, I found, coping strategies of how to deal with it. The seventh thing that Karen taught me is journaling. Now, I wasn't always journaling before. I never really had a journal within my life. I never really was writing things down. The first time I remember learning about journaling was when I was with Karen. She said to me, do you have a journal? And I said, no, I do not have a journal. I don't even know what it is. And then Karen says it's a book where you can write down your feelings and emotions down on paper and express to yourself what's going on in your life. And it's a way for you to process what your thoughts and your feelings are and your emotions that you are going through. And I said, oh, but I don't know how to journal, and I don't know what to do with journaling. And then Karen taught me, you need to write, you know, how your day's been, write what you've been feeling throughout the day, write what's been going on in your life, write about your dreams and desires and ambitions and goals, and write the things that just are important to you. And now for many years, since obviously the therapy sessions with Karen, I've been writing in journals for a number of years now, and it's really helped me to deal with a lot of my problems and a lot of my situations. And then the 8th thing that Karen taught me is to deal with loss. Now, I've lost quite a lot of things in my life. I've lost homes of my own, I've lost properties of my own, I've lost money, I've lost people within my family life, I've lost relationships, I've lost courses, university courses and stuff like that. And when Karen taught me how to understand loss, it's something that changed my whole life, because before Karen and me worked together, I just didn't know how to deal with loss. I felt loss was a quite hard thing to experience and quite a challenging thing to go through, but Karen sort of showed me that, you know, loss is part of life, and there are going to be things in life that you're going to lose, and for some reason you have to accept that. It's not that it's going to be easy for you to accept, and it's not that it's going to be you know, easy to deal with. But once you can accept that you're going to lose things within your life, and things are going to become hard and difficult sometimes, then you can gain acceptance, and then you can gain a new way of living and a new way of understanding things. So from the losses that I've experienced within my life, losing my home and all my possessions in a fire, becoming homeless, losing my grandfather and he lost his life, losing relationships to my ex-partners and my girlfriends, losing my degree qualifications and dropping out of university, seeing a man lose his life as I was helping him. The list goes on to the things that I've lost. But what I've learned from the things that I've lost is that you can still become who you want to be, and you can still be the person that you aspire to be. And when you do go through loss, it's not how you cry and get vulnerable about it. It's how you overcome it and you make the most of your life, and you keep on pursuing what you want to do in your life, and also helping other people in your life as well. So these are the things that I've learned from Karen, and I'm very grateful for Dr Karen Meechan for helping me when I was going through my own mental health problems, homelessness, and when I was struggling in my life. Karen is my hero in mental health work. She's someone that I just love with a bit of compassion and empathy and kindness, and she's someone that's really helped me. So this video is for Karen Meechan, and thank you for helping me and supporting me when I was going through problems and difficulties and challenges, and thank you for all the work you've done with me, because it's really changed my life, and thank you so much. So thanks.